Welcome back. Today I continue the live patient lectures of real patients in the hospital. Real people who suffer, who have drug addictions and are at the bottom of their lives, who have been called rejects in society, and my lecture is about self-pity and giving back hope. I'm going to introduce some concepts like neuro-linguistic programming, but the most important thing, that self-healing happens immediately, that there is hope, and how we have failed, how psychiatry has failed many of our patients. But despite all these obstacles, these lectures hopefully will bring you hope to a new recovery. And next week, we'll be presenting a video of the brain, a journey. Hope you can join. So you grew up with this trauma that you could not live with, and you found a way to survive. Many of you became adults really quickly, didn't you? I can tell you stories of people here and before, not just in previous patients, how they were put in places where they had to prostitute themselves, exploited. Now that's evil. Totally evil. And then somewhere along the line, you seeked out help, but you didn't get it, and we failed you. I failed you. Not me. My colleagues have failed you. Somewhere along the line, while you were going to school, our educational system failed to detect that you were having problems early. And not only that, the system failed in providing services to you as children to stop this process of your brain going downhill. So the system has failed. And somewhere along your life, you discovered certain things that you now are the prisoners of. You began to experiment with drugs. Did you know that now children have access to painkillers? Through the grandparents. They can experiment. So you discover that these medications gave you a minute of escape. And this minute of escape became what you know now as an addiction. The interesting thing is that I want to talk about that you became victims of the system. But I'm going to deprogram your brain to see if I can help you with this self-pity that takes your hope away. Many of you continue to suffer, and your only companion is that moment of pleasure that has destroyed your lives. Because of this, you stolen from family. You stolen from property. You landed in prison. All for that moment of pleasure. If you don't see a darkness there, where your soul is stolen, you're blind. But the interesting thing, along life, I know that every one of you have experienced a very spiritual opportunity to save you. I know I can get a show of hands how many have near death from drugs, right? And then you lived. And even though you wanted to die, right? You lived. Next week, I'm going to bring a documentary that I made a few years ago on that television set. I'm going to show you how the brain operates. Not even doctors have seen this video. You're going to be very privileged to see this so you can understand how your brain operates. This victim feeling that you have, we tend to blame others, right? Because of my mother, because I was abused, right? We hang on to excuses, right? To be in the same state that you're in. You can't get out of the hole, can you? But the beautiful thing about humanity and the gift that you were born with, tell me how many here have felt an intuition that something was wrong? How many? Almost everybody. Because you were not born without equipment. You just don't know how to use it. Many call it instinct or whatever. Precognitive thinking. Even in your dreams, how many people have dreamed something and it did happen? Look how many people. You just don't talk about it because you think it's just you. And many of you have given up hope because you think it's too late. And because you think it's too late, this thing that you feel, you project onto others. If you don't feel good about yourself, how do you think you're going to look to others, right? You got to change your perspective of yourself. You know, every day that you live is gratitude. Many of you have been in the streets, my friend. It's such a painful thing. For me, it's extremely painful to see people in the corner begging for drugs. Tell me if this is not darkness. You know, they say the devil does not necessarily have horns. Darkness are emotions of guilt, self-pity, pleasure. It's like your soul is going to be taken. And there are many soul stealers which come by the name as drug dealers. Have you ever seen the drug dealers? I hope they don't hunt me down because of this video now. They know exactly what you need. And at that moment, you have a choice, don't you? But you do something, you don't do something that you were born with. Your free will is so powerful. All you have to do is close your eyes and ask for help. Set ye behind me, right? You ever hear that expression? It is sad to live like this and know that you may die in a corner with no family, and that's the end of your life. You've seen friends die that way. You have walked into friends that you have disappeared for days, and you saw the end of their life. And because of that, you say, I don't want to die like this. And you don't have to die this way. You can do anything. Have you noticed how well you do the impossible? You were able to get enough money for drugs for that day, right? Impossible, right? Turn that around. Imagine what you can do and say, use the same power to get something better. The problem is that we have failed you. You know why? Because the doctors like me are supposed to are trained to help you, give you peace in your brain. We're supposed to be able to find the right combination to give you peace so you can have good choices and you don't suffer. So this system has failed because they don't see hope in you. And when you go to the emergency room, how many have gone to the emergency room? Many smirk and smile. He's here again, right? They want, let's get him out. Let's give him a little fentanyl, right? How many have experienced that here? It's a way to get you out. It devalues you as a human being, but it's not their fault. It is the choice that you make. Some of you have children, am I right? But you're afraid to see them or have lost them. And because you cannot see them again, you continue to go on this destructive pattern. It is not too late. The biggest obstacle in recovery, which I keep mentioning, is that you don't have a sense of purpose or a sense of spiritual purpose in life. You guys are like apostles. You know what suffering is. You know what pain is. And I know that out there, that even though you may be in pain, you will go out of your way when you see somebody in pain. How many would do that here? Everybody. You are masters. You are teachers of suffering. You know what suffering is. Take this experience to become a better person. For every good deed you do to another person, it comes back to you 100-fold. Meetings, lectures. We come to this earth for a life purpose. Know yours. But we have failed you. And I try very hard to teach my fellow psychiatrists in my YouTube channel how to treat patients, how to give you the right medicine. Most of my patients, I'm very lucky, have been doing very well. I don't know how many are here now, but many have known me. And they see improvement quickly. I could be wrong. I don't say that because I am showing off, because I have worked hard for so many years to understand the disease of the brain. In the next lecture, I will show you how I see the brain. Do not give in to darkness. Fix yourself. Get follow-up. Because you have suffered so much trauma, your brain has been rewired. It's a whole different entity. You look at yourself in the mirror. When you do something, you say, I can't believe I did this. How many have done that? I can't believe I did this. For the sake of a drug that steals your soul. You remember when you were children, how much you appreciated to be loved and hugged. You didn't judge anybody, did you? Right? You didn't care about how people bad as long as they were nice to you. And you all wanted as children appreciation. Now ask yourself, for those who have children, what was done to you you have done to them, right? It's not too late. You are masters. You don't want the same thing that happened to you to your children, am I right? And your family? So you are the masters. You know what advice to give. You already know what evil is and how it gets to you. All it takes is one person that you can help out in this world. How many people here have someone that really loves them? How many? And they've always given you guidance and they depend on you, right? Don't give in to this darkness. There is a spiritual battle. I am not a preacher, I am a psychiatrist. But it doesn't take a preacher or a psychiatrist to look around what's happening to us. Everything. This, interesting enough, I'm not going to get into this. It's a digital code of bars. And I'm not going to say it, but do your research. Each bar has a digit of 6 by at least 3. In the old days, many of you had no phones, right? We talked about this last time. People waited for you to get home. You got to stop having self-pity. Self-pity steals your soul. You say to yourself, you know what? My life is ruined. They used me as a child. Society doesn't care. It's a lie. It is true that happened to you, but you don't have to perpetuate that lie. Stop having self-pity. Many of you know what your triggers are, right? And one of the key ones is what? The word self-pity. Look up and look proud. Stay sober. You are masters. Help someone else. Because what you suffered, many of us will never see. Real heroes do not look for attention. Many of you have done heroic things in the dark. How many? Without getting credit. That's a real hero. One human being at a time. Stay sober. Keep your brain clean. Go out there. You know where you guys are. And the bridges and the darkness, right? Where nobody can see you. When you see people like that, I don't see people that are dirty or smelly and begging. You know what I see? That person was once a child. A child with dreams. You all had dreams. It's not about money. I promise you. Money is just a means to do what you do with it. You can do beautiful things with money, right? And you can do horrific things with money. But at the end, it doesn't give you happiness. I know people with money that are very, very unhappy. I always say this in these lectures. At the end of your life, I am going to be on the other side. I will call out your name, hold your hand, and help you cross over. And I will ask you one question. What have you learned from this lifetime? What will you say? To die in peace is a beautiful thing. To die alone a dark thing. It means that everything you've done as a child to now had no purpose and had no meaning. Fix yourself. Make amends to the people that you love, even though they may reject you. Go back to them and say, I am so sorry for what I've done. I'm not looking for money, but I wanted to say how much harm have I done. The process of self-pity is by self-forgiveness and forgiving others. You are the masters, and you are the heroes. You gotta figure out a way back home. All you have to do is stay sober, and hopefully you'll find the right doctor who will keep your brain clean and straight. There's a lot of arrogance in my profession. I'm not afraid to call a colleague an idiot. Sometimes when I call the emergency room, they say, hey, he's on the line. Because I'm calling regarding my patient to see if they did the right thing. And even though I may not impact that decision, I send the message that my patient is not alone, that he has representation. Unfortunately, the system is broken. And maybe in these lectures, in my fantasy, in the call in the wilderness, maybe somebody will hear. But please, begin to love yourself first. I am very happy that this week I have not seen much anger. Has it been much? You guys have done great. And I hope that these lectures that I give you have helped you become the person that you deserve to be. If I was to have a unique conversation here with everybody, you can teach me a few things. Good fisherman. How many here are good fishermen? How many here are good survivalists? Huh? You are survivalists. You found a way to find food out there, right? And I know you kind of thrive that moment underneath the bridge when it's a sunny day and it's good, but it's not the way you want to live. Listen, you're very lucky. One thing I have to say I love about this country, there's a system that cares about you. Some of you get about 700 up to 1,000. But I know that many of you would need more homes, group homes, to provide care for you. I know it's a big struggle. Many of you are doing very well on Suboxone, right? A drug that keeps you away from heroin. But the system is broken because these same homes will not allow you to take Suboxone. What a broken system. So here I am as a doctor. We were given the privilege to treat you with a medication that keeps you off heroin, and yet you are rejected in homes. Where are you going to live? The system is broken, and it angers me. It's like the left hand is not talking to the right hand. I dare you do this every day. When you wake up in the morning, I don't care what religion you're on, pray and ask. Every day, Do a test. How many have done it since I've been here giving these lectures? And how many have seen something out of those prayers? Everybody. So you see, you have to believe. And there are skeptics here. There are people with a big wall when it comes to that, right? It doesn't matter what past experience you have with your spiritual encounters. You don't need a temple to get help. And I'm not going to piss off many religious people. I don't want to do that either. But I know this is going to go on YouTube. But this is not about them, is it? This is about you. The ones that we have failed you since you were kids. We failed you in education because we couldn't pick up that you were ill. We failed you because we couldn't get you to the right place to get you help sooner. We failed to identify there was abuse and we didn't take action. The system has failed. Who can fix it? You. Volunteer. Volunteer in something that you're going to help another person. Volunteer in your own trauma. That's how you fix yourself and you help people. One human being at a time. I promise you that one day when you do these good deeds, that person that you help will see you in the streets, hold your hand, and with tears will say thank you. How many of you wish to be rescued? Tell me sometimes in these dark moments and nobody was there. And now that you're better, imagine what you would do to the other person. Careful, as the fruits of your tree doesn't fall far from you. Some of you may have children that you already see a pattern where you're headed. Am I right? You don't have to say yes. Stop that child before it gets worse. And then you will have done your good deed. That's how you amend. That's how you heal. And that's the purpose of groups that you're supposed to be doing. Don't judge a book by its cover. And don't let people provoke you. If somebody looks at you and they're smiling and they look at you funny, don't answer back. You smile back. You might feel intimidated that they're laughing at you, but you just smile back strong, right? Because there's nothing wrong with you. I often ask myself, what am I doing in psychiatry? People don't get better, right? Why can't I be a surgeon, right? Probably making more money, right? Why can't I be a neurosurgeon, right? Why can't I be doing something more exciting where there's hope and I can fix somebody and come out of the operating room and say, I've done it? You know why? Because here's where the suffering is. This is the humanity I was destined to take care of. Hopefully to give hope. I could have stayed in surgery. I could have been a mechanic. But this is my calling. You need to find your calling. I'm sure everybody has a little talent. Your perpetrators, their life. If you follow your perpetrators, they're either in jail or they're suffering. Judgment has already been placed on them. Nothing you can do. Forget your perpetrators. And if they're your parents that beat you and they're buried, go say goodbye to them and forgive them. When you do that process, you begin your healing. I want to use this opportunity for you to open up to any questions. I know there'll be hundreds of questions and we'll do our best to answer them. So please, if you have any questions below, you can ask. Be patient as we respond them little by little. I hope this gives hope for all of you and also gives education to my colleagues in how we should treat patients who have lost everything.